Welcome back. Good morning. It's raining here in Sydney, but I've got something to show you. So we have some new bits and pieces to talk about, ladies and gentlemen. So anytime you've heard me talk about this bike, I've kind of had three comments, haven't I? First thing, right, is I really like riding this bike, but it's not a road bike. I have road bikes. So when I first set this bike up, I really tried to just, kind of mimic my road bike, didn't I? I almost tried to put road bike gearing on it, road bike setup on it. I had some spare road bike components, and that's what went on it. But as time went on and I realized, well, I've got a road bike that I ride on the road, there was no point leaning into that. And that brings me on to the second point of not all gravel bikes are created equal. And this is where I think you guys might find this interesting. The geometry of this bike, as you can see, as you look at it, right, it looks more relaxed. It looks like more of a mountain bikey type thing. I said this in the past with Jesse, didn't I, where I said the setback of the bike was far more dramatic on this than his gravel bike, which is a Diverge, okay? So that leans more into the off-road space. The other thing I've learned as this has gone along is this has a wider chain line. Now, I didn't know anything about this sort of stuff till I started thinking about mountain bikes and gravel bikes. But basically what that means is you have more space for gearing, more space for a big fat tire in here, i.e. more off-roady type thing. The way that plays out in reality is if I'm going to run a 1x, I can only fit a 40 tooth on here. I can run 2x, but I can't run anything bigger than a 40 tooth there, but I can run a huge range of gears back here at the back. But the big change you guys can no doubt see are the wheels. These are 650 wheels, so they're basically mountain bike wheels with big, fat, massive inch tires on them. This is just trying to allow me to lean way more into this being an off-road spec setup than an on-road spec setup. I'll put the links below to the components that I've used. Obviously, I've got some pretty cool new FSA products that we'll be trialing. The last thing that I haven't done yet, and maybe we can do some offline trading here. I'm not sure if this is allowed on YouTube, but we'll give it a crack. So I've still got my road access derailleur and road access cassette on here. I think it's 1034. If anyone wants to swap that for a mountain bike one, happy to talk numbers with you. But that will be the last change that I'll make on this, and then it will be full setup off-road. So I reckon the biggest takeaway here, guys, is not that Chris has got new cool stuff that he's going to play around with, is that, and I said this in the gravel vlog in the beginning, okay, not all gravel bikes are created equal. I can't turn this bike into a full roadie spec gravel bike because of the geometry that is in it, okay? And that is important if you are going down the route of the gravel bike to look into that. I mentioned it in that gravel vlog, this thing called trail, which is basically the gap here, but there are other aspects. So ask questions about the chain line and ask questions about your setback, how far you can set your saddle back. So super cool setup, got the GUI bar tape on here, got the FSA wheels, and massive shout out to the guys at KWT, hooked me up with some Receptor mountain bike tires. I am full legit off-road now, guys. I even have a sort of trail jacket that I wear around to show people. And I'm standing outside in the rain. Quick shout to Mr. Evans, thank you very much for that. So I've just stolen a saddlebag from him. Why, do you ask? Because next week I'm doing a little overnighter, which is very alt of me. Now, here's the thing, right? They're big days. They're like 160, 170K days. And I was originally thinking, I'm just gonna run this road bike. Because there's a little bit of gravel, but I'll just make do with it. But I'm kind of thinking, some of the new specs that I put on the gravel bike, it does look amazing. And I'm also sort of thinking, well, I really want to chip the paint job on this bike. So, yeah, but the problem, right, is if the other guys are all running roadies, then it becomes a bit of a shit show for me, doesn't it? There's going to be like a threshold no matter what, right? Like at some point, whatever bike you're riding is inappropriate for what you're doing. So the question, I suppose, is with this current config, what is the threshold? Or does it actually not even matter? Can I just convince everyone else to run exactly what I'm running, and then it doesn't really matter at all? I don't know, we had that chat the other week about, you know, mimicking your road position and stuff on the gravel bike, which, yeah, plays a big role, I suppose, in training and stuff. But I don't think it's half bad to have a bit of a position that's a bit different, like obviously within a certain range, but like there's no big harm in having a few stresses on some slightly different parts of your body. Do you know? Getting yourself a little bit out of position that you've always been in. Like for this particular example here, like I'm about that far back behind the bottom bracket than I am on the roadie. Ah, get that deep in. Okay, road biker.
Ah, yes, road pedals. Got him.
Yeah, you got me. You got me. You got me. All right, roadie. Tell me what's different about this bike apart from the obvious handlebar and FSA crank.
I don't know. I thought maybe you can adjust the brake of the fork, can't you? I thought that might have been it.
Yeah.
Made it more road.
650 wheels.
Oh!
They're mountain bike wheels.
Oh!
So they're 47 mil wide. Full off-road spec.
Okay.
That's interesting, you couldn't tell though. But it's the big difference, like getting out of the saddle on the gravel bike before, it was like, oh, so sluggish. But you get out in the saddle now, it's like, because I suppose it's a shorter circumference, I don't know. Someone explained to me why that's the case. Apart from that, yeah, we're ready to go. I'm so rad now. Oh yeah, gonna ride this. Definitely gonna ride this. Big fan of that. I really like it actually. Before I let you go, I've been meaning to mention this for ages. Can someone explain to me how Matthew van der Poel ended up at the end of Paris-Roubaix with literally the whitest shoes I've ever seen? Like, forget about Cancellara and his friggin' bike with a motor in it. This is the major conspiracy and likely we need to figure out. Anyway, drop a comment below. Let us know your thoughts on this mint setup. Stoked with this. And hopefully you'll see you over the weekend. Well, definitely we'll see you over the weekend for sure. Big shout to Sammy and Cooper are on their way to Mallorca. Fingers crossed. Be able to have a bit of a chat to them before they go, well, while they're there. Alrighty guys, peace. See you over the weekend.